How great does Luke Willson look with this mustache and this mullet combination? Here he is. It's just coming in so well, buddy. Look at this guy. This is amazing. It's Luke who's talking. Yes! Luke, I know that you and I have talked about this this Ken Dorsey situation, and I know that you're probably in favor of him being fired, but are you in favor of him being replaced by his quarterback coach, Joe Brady, a guy who's been working with Josh Allen directly all season?
You know, Jay, these situations, you don't really want to bring a wild outsider in, especially midseason where you're still in the playoff race. So I don't really think they have another option. Again, you're not going to get a guy from the street that's going to come in, have to learn the lingo, have to meet Josh, have to understand what Josh likes and doesn't like. So it is really the only option Sean McDermott has. And sometimes, not always, but that quarterback coach has a better relationship with a quarterback than an offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator has to be responsible for all parts, where the quarterback coach just has to be responsible for his quarterback. So he might have a better pulse of what's actually going on. So I do think it's a great move. I think it's really the only logical move at this point. And I totally understand why Ken Dorsey was let go. Again, Jay, we've talked about it numerous times, and I'm sure he's a great coach like everybody says, but it's just been such a failure on a variety of things. Yes, the glaring one is the turnovers with Josh Allen, but to me, they don't have an identity. They seemingly are they a run-first team. They barely get James Cook involved. When they do, he looks great, but it's very inconsistent. Stephon Diggs has had obviously great stats. I think he might be the best receiver in the league, but getting him the ball has been somewhat challenging at times. Gabe Davis has been in and out. So that's where, again, problems across the board. The only guy you can really point to is the OC, and the only option to really replace him is the quarterback coach.
So Deshaun Watson, Luke, is done for the year. First of all, this has been one of those strangest seasons, I think, in NFL history. What do you make of this season for Deshaun Watson?
Jay, it's so hard for me to sit here and really have a feel for what's going on, because before the shoulder injury, the original shoulder injury just seemed like such a secret, like what was going on. Then he was medically cleared, and then he didn't want to play due to health reasons. And, then he comes back this game. We all thought he had a high ankle that he was gutting through, and it sounded like he did have an ankle issue, but he also had a shoulder and couldn't throw it. It just seems like a lot of drama that is really not needed. And what's a shame for Cleveland, if you're a Browns fan out there, is I truly believe that this defense is an elite unit across the board. I mean, they're very well coached by Jim Schwartz. They have an incredible front seven led by Myles Garrett, and the back end is very, very stout. You don't need a ton on the other side to win games and perhaps even win the division. But right now, it's so inconsistent. Is he in? Is he out? They're trying to figure out what they're going to do offensively. That in a weird way, I actually think that it's almost a sigh of relief. Obviously, you want Deshaun Watson in there, but now at least the Browns offensive staff can sit back and say, okay, we know for a fact we don't have Deshaun Watson. Here's what we think our offense should be going forward.
Now, you mentioned it. This defense is elite. The Browns are actually in that second wild card spot, Luke, but you lose Watson, there's just no doubt. I mean, he is a talent. So how big a news is this for the Bengals, who are sitting on the outside of the playoffs looking in, and maybe even the Bills, who we basically all but eliminated on Monday?
It's a big ordeal, Jay, because right now, if you're this Bengals team, you just got beaten a game you were expected to win, but you have been playing extremely well over the course of 5 weeks. Again, and even last week, there was a bad drop, a couple bad turnovers. Hats off to Houston for playing a great game, and obviously C.J. Stroud. But I think the Bengals will be going into film on Monday saying, hey, we really let one slip here. So the Bengals, as much as we want to say, hey, they're on the outside of the playoff position, all these things, I promise you, in that locker room right now, they're going into this Thursday nighter thinking, hey, we got to claw one back, because in their mind, they're still in the division. They have the division leaders, Baltimore, that they're playing on Thursday. They can claw a game back there. And like we just talked about, the team that is set in second, who they're also chasing, just found out their starting quarterback is done for the year. So I do think this is a must-win game. for a variety of reasons for the Bengals, but the main one is if they lose it, the rest of the year will be a fight for the wild card. And it really will be very, very small margin for error. If they win it, to me, they're right back in the division race.
We've got a huge Monday Nighter this week. I can't wait for our post-game show so we can talk about it. It is the Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and the Eagles, both teams coming off their bye. Luke, as you may know, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were in Argentina together, apparently, over the course of the bye. According to reports now, Taylor and Travis's parents will be meeting for the first time at the Monday Nighter. Luke, how concerned are you about this whole ordeal?
Jay, I got to get a few things off my chest here,
Yes.
okay? I got to do it. I got to do it.
I love it.
Okay, first and foremost, you're going to meet at a Monday Night Football game where there's going to be a million cameras. Like, to me, it's just so overboard. It's so extra. Like, why would you even want that? Again, I don't want to get into the personal life here, but it's obnoxious at this point that they're going to meet on a Monday Night Football game that has a huge matchup. Like you said, it's a Super Bowl rematch. On the second thing, the whole flight to Argentina, I want to be very clear when I say this. I believe Travis Kelce, when it's all said and done, is going to go down as the greatest pass-catching tight end of all time. The guy is an incredible, incredible player. And do I think that going to Argentina on a bye week will affect his play? Absolutely not. 0% whatsoever. The only thing that I worry about is the flight. Travis Kelce is 33 years old. That is not, again, I know in the grand scheme of life that is young, but in the NFL, that is a very, very older player, especially at that position.
Yep.
And the next thing I say is when you have a guy that catches that many footballs week in and week out, that also means he gets tackled week in and week out. And then the next thing I'll just add on to this, Jay, is he's really their only consistent weapon. So when teams game plan for the Chiefs, right now, every time Travis Kelce steps on the field, if he's close to the line of scrimmage, they're telling defensive linemen, jam him up, throw off the timing, hit Kelce as much as you can to try and throw him off his game. So where my head goes, I'm a little more conservative, is I hope he's still taking care of himself, whether it's in Argentina or when he got back, because the last thing I think anyone would want to see as a football fan is him be injured.
We all remember what happened when Mike Tyson went to Japan, fought Buster Douglas. He lost. Ronda Rousey goes to Australia, fights Holly Holm. She loses. You just shouldn't get on a plane. You just shouldn't do it unless it's in North America. Okay, Luke, we got to talk about this. Our producer, Kyle, had his friend Matt send him a very entertaining Are They Related on Monday, and here it is. It is you.
Oh, wow.
And the villain from Despicable Me 3, Balthazar Brat. Thoughts on this one, Luke, and any chance that you rock a purple suit and maybe get a little more elevation in the mullet for our next show?
Well, I can definitely try and find a purple suit. I don't own one, but the elevation, the mullet might be a little tough. My guy there has really got some volume going, Jay, and I don't know if my hair can do that. But I do see the resemblance, and that's a great find right there. So hats off. Hats off to producer Kyle's buddy.
That's right. Way to go, Matt. You did it. You pulled off an Are They Related that actually made sense for once.